So our first talk for the day is, if you showed up for the keynote, you've already met Max and Sabine, and they're going to go talk to us about Rafiki.
Before we zoom into this graph, let me introduce to you Max, that is with us here today. You've met him at the keynote, as Huijing said. He is a software engineer on the Rafiki team, and he makes sure that whenever we design something, it's actually well thought through and everything makes sense, and whenever we do a refactor, that we do not ever have to touch this code again.
Thank you very much, Sabine. As you may know, this is Sabine. She's our engineering lead. Obviously been involved in Interledger for 5 years now, so but yeah, she really keeps the team together, making sure we're all moving in the same direction and keeps us organized. So welcome, Sabine, as well. So let's zoom in into what this last year looked like. So as I introduced earlier, January we really started working on making it easier to manage your Rafiki instance with the admin UI. So the stuff like being able to create peers, assets, all the wallet address, being able to see all the webhooks that are coming into Rafiki, you'll be able to see now in this nice dashboard. So thank you to Radu, I don't know if he's here, and Sarah for really helping us. And as well, I was going to say Karen, because I know you also worked on this. In February, we, as you may know, Rafiki runs Tiger Beetle as an accounting database, but we also wanted to provide the option of a Postgres version as well, so that the Tiger Beetle team can just push as many changes as they want, while we still have sort of a Postgres alternative for those looking to integrate.
So you may remember the demo last year that I did on the main stage with Postman and like showing how you do a request to an open payments request. And I said last year, well, signatures aren't working yet, and we're abstracting all of this away. Signatures are now working, but they are very, very complicated. So we tried to make it easier for a developer to actually do open payments requests, and we developed a bunch of packages and libraries to help you with this. The first one is the Open Payments SDK that was actually spearheaded by Max. So the Open Payments SDK allows you to instantiate an unauthenticated client or an authenticated client to then do open payments request. An unauthenticated client is just initiated without anything, and then you can do requests to those resources that are not authenticated. So that is a payment pointer and a public incoming payment. The authenticated client, that one you need to initialize with a payment pointer, a private key, and the key ID associated with that key. And once that client is initiated, you can do things like creating a grant request very easily without having to do any signatures. And you can also then obviously request grants and create request resources and create resources.
Well, because signatures isn't something that's open payment specific exactly, we've also released the signatures library. And yeah, it makes signing signatures a lot easier to do. Yeah, so this is also published in NPM. Additionally, something that's also not entirely open payment specific, but we use in the Open Payments SDK is our Open API validator. So whenever we make a request to an Open API specification, we're going to validate that the response matches up with the spec. So all three of these things are on NPM, and yeah, you can install them normal way.
And we also welcome you to try out all of those three things during the hackathon on Wednesday. In March, we were then finally ready to have our first alpha release, and we celebrated that at a developer meetup in Cape Town. And also, thanks to Vinyl, it was like pushed all over social media.
So yeah, back in April, when we did releases of Rafiki, we only had the support for the AMD architecture. Now with the rollout of the new MacBooks, et cetera, we also started doing ARM as well. So now when we push a new version of Rafiki, we're going to have both architectures supported in our Docker containers. Yeah, this is a good time to introduce breakpoints. So in April, Alex, Sabine, and I went to Romania to work with the team. As I mentioned before, we're really trying with them to start out building like the Interledger Rafiki network, let's just say. And yeah, and here during the I guess, our April event, we were starting out and laying down the groundwork for what's to become the test wallet.
The test wallet, which is called Rafiki.money and which can be found on Rafiki.money. It is a wallet that should demonstrate how an Interledger first wallet looks like. It's all play money, so if you want to feel incredibly rich, you can go there and fund it. Thank you very much to Timea, who has been leading the effort of the test wallet, Rafiki.money, and also to Madalena for the wonderful designs. But I shouldn't talk too much about it, but we should actually show you what it looks like.
So yeah, after you sign up to Rafiki.money, you're going to get past the account creation screen. You're going to get to your account overview, and basically you'll see that I have a few different accounts here. One is euros, one USD. There's a bunch of currencies available. But yeah, I have these two accounts, and you can see here I have, for each of those accounts, I can create payment pointers and be able to view all the transaction that's happened for that payment pointer. So in our case, yeah, I can see all the kind of money in and out. So to actually make a payment, I would go into send. There's a few options, but yeah, if I want to just transfer money to somebody with account, I can do something like this. So from my Euro account, I will select my payment pointer, and if I want to send money to Sabina, I will just enter her payment pointer in the screen and say I want to send 10 euros. So in my case, I'm going to be sending 10 euros, and you can see here that Sabina, because her payment pointer is on USD, will see the actual amount that is going to cost for her to receive as well. So all I had to do was just get the payment pointer from my friend Sabina and put it in here. So when I review the payment, it's going to say, okay, I'm going to send 10 euros. Sabina's going to receive with some amount, with some fees on her receiving end. So I hit send, money was sent, and I can see here, or here even, that money has left my account. What Sabina also alluded to earlier about the Open Payments SDK, you can go in here and see all the developer keys that are associated with your accounts or payment pointer. I've already made some, but this is what it would look like. So I can use these generated key IDs to initialize my Open Payments client and then start development from there. So that's how it looks like. So yeah, that's a quick overview of Rafiki.money, and you can see for yourself and sign up for an account at Rafiki.money.
Yeah, again, shout out to the hackathon that's happening on Wednesday. This is where you go to find those keys and to play with the Open Payments SDK. Right, so as you remember from the earlier slide, this is what happened over the year, and then there was this very obvious dip in June. So what happened in June? Why did we not work? 2 reasons for that. One is we had the ILF work week. So as we've learned earlier, the ILF has been growing tremendously over the last year, and a lot of us hadn't even met each other in person. So we all went to Lisbon and Portugal and met each other and said hi and played, like, you know, the how tall are you game. Oh, you are taller than I thought, and you are not as tall, I guess. And we also strategized and came up with some new ideas on what to work on over the upcoming year. And then also June is vacation time in the Northern Hemisphere. So I took off on a 300-kilometer or 200-mile hike in Norway.
I did not go on a 200-kilometer hike. I did go on a hike in south in Italy just to escape Alex. I don't know if he's here. But anyway, I escaped Alex. So yeah, after we were back from the summer break, one of the heavily requested features in Rafiki was the Helm chart. So Sabina worked really hard to make Helm charts work for all of our packages. So now we have separate charts for each of our services, so we can deploy that to Kubernetes. And obviously we do not have a dedicated DevOps person, so obviously contributions are welcome at any time. In July, we kind of started our first round of open payments changes. So for those of you who are working in open payments for a while, the very first spec was very like invoice related, and everything was about invoices. And we had things like external reference, and you can see invoice-related terminology. Now we kind of started to move away to be more, let's say, less invoicey, more payments, and with flexible kind of data in our specifications, and to be as happy as this guy here. Yeah.
It was alluded to in the keynote already. Documentation was a big thing at ILF in general, but also within Rafiki. So last year, we really didn't have any documentation, to be honest. We had a little bit of brain dump in somewhere hidden in Markdown files, somewhere in a GitHub repository. Now, well, we kind of moved brain dump to a nice-looking website, but we also have generated some content. Thank you to Mohammed and Melissa, our technical writers, who have translated brain dump into something meaningful. Yes, give them a round of applause. And then also thank you to Hui Jing to make sure this all looks very beautiful. Yes. Well deserved. And then, as was said earlier, it was not like we didn't stop at the Rafiki docs. We also updated the open payments docs and the web monetization docs to all look the same. The only thing that's still missing is the Interledger docs. This is upcoming. We're kind of slowly starting to work on those too.
In September, we all went back to Romania, now as a bigger group after we expanded the team. And we went, it was a work week dedicated on Rafiki and testnet with the Breakpoint team in Romania, as well as Omer from Pinboss. Shout out, Omer. And yeah, that was a week where we split off into 5 tracks. So one of them was the documentation track. Technical writer and Hu Jing really came together and planned out documentation, started writing nice copy, and working hard on that. We had a bunch of open payments updates, so how the specification looks like and terminology we use in there, and making sure that the specification changes as well as we make the changes in Rafiki. Another big push was the telemetry project, to be able to add metrics into Rafiki and to see how the test network, how the money is moving around the test network. That was another track. And we had the unbundling Rafiki backend, meaning we want to get to a point where open payments becomes more and more interoperable specification. So we're trying to prepare Rafiki to support multiple payment methods. I'll get to that in just a sec. We also have testnet additions, and that was another big push during the work week.
Yeah, one of those things we're working on our local playground. So as you may remember, so far Rafiki comes with a local playground that is basically you can spin up 2 instances of Rafiki, and then you can send payments from one to the other instance and play around with Rafiki and open payments. But we also wanted you to be able to play with payments from local to remote. So we've now added an auto-peering functionality to Rafiki to automatically peer with Rafiki.money, such that we can get a test network going and for you to experience what a payment looks like from one instance to another instance that's not all on the same computer. Thank you very much to Dragos, who did all the work on Rafiki.money, and to Max, who did the work within Rafiki.
Another, let's say, child of the work week was the Rafiki Boutique. So this is a e-commerce application that's built from open payments up. And so with a payment pointer from Rafiki.money, you can see how easy it is to make payments in the future if it's open payments related. Without entering, like I said, card information or bank information, just use a payment pointer and pay online. So it's easier to show.
Let me show you what that looks like. So last year I bought shoes on stage. Fortunately, the Interledger boutique does not have shoes, but it will work with another thing. I have a great selection of things here that I can buy, and since I don't like speaking in public, I'll buy some courage. I'll add that to my cart. It's done. I can go look at my shopping cart.
Can you add one for me?
Well, let me check first if your $10 arrived, Max.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you didn't put a description, but I think that's you. So, okay, well, it's 20. But since I'm incredibly rich on test network, I'll add one for you.
Thank you.
Check out. There's the one and only payment method that we need. And I'll put in my payment pointer. Now I get redirected to a consent screen, which is not at Rafiki Boutique, but that's actually, it's probably quite small, but this is hosted on Rafiki.money, and now Rafiki.money informs me that Rafiki Boutique wants to access my wallet account and withdraw the $40.41. 41 cents are the fees, and I accept that, and we're done. Do you feel better, Max?
We'll see.
All right.
Continue on. Yeah, what I alluded to earlier was another push that we're having in open payments is really making it more open and interoperable. So right now, yes, supporting the ILP as a payment method, but we want to get to the point where we're supporting more payment methods, for example, Mojloop and cards. So we're really laying down the groundwork, changing the specification to the specification itself, as well as making changes in Rafiki to support this. So this was another start, during the work week. And yeah, thank you to Blair and Nathan for really pushing this forward in Rafiki and during the work week for all your hard work. So another thing you may have seen is we've been calling things payment pointer, we've been calling things wallet address. So this has probably been like a year-long discussion, if not more, but essentially we've been trying to figure out what exactly is a payment pointer, what is a wallet address, but essentially anything that supports ILP payment is a payment pointer, and a wallet addresses could be also a payment pointer, but also it is open payments specific, looks like a URL. So wallet address, open payments, but payment pointers is ILP. We're really focusing on that distinction recently.
Okay, so this is all we got done this year. So let's look into what we're planning to do right after this. So telemetry is one thing that we're like this close to releasing. It's pretty much done, but we haven't tested it properly yet. So that's why we didn't want to push it to main yet. But basically what this allows us to do is gather some data about what's happening in the network. So within Rafiki, data about like how many payments are going from where to where is gathered and aggregated, and then this dashboard that is shown here will also let you find out like what's going on in the network, where are things happening, is there a period where the payments are bigger, is there a period where payments are smaller, all this kind of stuff is done or can be observed once we have this telemetry dashboard. As we always want to focus on privacy, the data, as I said, was going to be aggregated, and also every account servicing entity gets the chance to just opt out of this. Thank you very much to Benny and to Sarah that have been mainly working on this over the last month. And then another thing that we have already started working on and are continue to working on is tightening our security. So we already engaged with a company that is doing a security audit of our code. And in addition to that, we want to make sure that everything related to admin is secured. So that is the admin API as well, or APIs, it's actually two, and the admin dashboard.
Another thing that we've been really focusing on is KYC information. So obviously when you're working with regulated entities, you need to know who the sender is, who the receiver is. And a big question for us is where do we put that data? How do we make sure it's encrypted and safe as you make payments across different ASCs? And it's been a big initiative for us, and we're going to continue with that beyond. All of this stuff we have in the roadmap, so you can go ahead and see exactly what we're working on. We also have open planning calls for both Open Payments and Rafiki, and everything's on GitHub. So yeah, you can follow progress in public. Thank you.